here we are. Here we are finally in the CFL playoffs for the 2021 CFL season. Did you miss me last year? Don't blame you. I missed doing this last year as well with my on the road to the Grey Cup. This time for reals for the 108th Grey Cup, as the Grey Cup will be in Hamilton, Ontario on Sunday, December the 12th. So what I do is, as what I've done the last couple seasons, is I do the on the road to the Grey Cup videos where I preview and take a look at the playoff games lead on to the Grey Cup, all 5 games, starting with the East semifinal, as we have the Hamilton Tiger Cats hosting the Montreal Alouettes. This game will be on Sunday, November the 28th, as it will be a 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. kickoff. So on at least the east side of the bracket, the road to the Grey Cup starts in Hamilton and will eventually end in Hamilton. So before I get into my notes and look at the matchup ahead, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like and subscribe, and my other social links down in the description below. And I also do a Brett Hornby shorts for my second channel. So this video will take a look at the East semifinal. In a separate video, I'll take a look at the West semifinal. That involves the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So what we'll do first is how the teams got here, as this year there was no crossover in the Canadian Football League, so you're not having any interdivisional games in the playoffs before the Grey Cup this season. So the team records, well, Hamilton was second in the East Division. They were 8-6. Keep in mind we only played 14 games during the COVID season. However, Hamilton were also 5-2 at home this season, and they were 4-4 versus the division. So they have a pretty good home record, but a 500 divisional record. And of course, the winner of this game will get to take on the Toronto Argonauts in Toronto the following Sunday, on Sunday, December the 5th. They actually moved up the final games a half an hour, so the East final will be at 10:30 Mountain Time or 12:30 Eastern Time. So the Montreal Alouettes, they were third in the East Division with a 7-7 record. They are 4-3 on the road. However, they have a slightly better record at 5-3 against the division. So definitely be intriguing to see how this matchup goes. So now if you look at the season series, these two teams played each other twice during the regular season. The first matchup, if you go back to week 4, this happened on Friday, August the 27th, as the Hamilton Tiger Cats were in Montreal. Hamilton won that game 27-10 in the first matchup. The second matchup happened week 9 on Saturday, October the 2nd. This time it was in Hamilton, and in this game the Montreal Alouettes actually won this one 23-20 in overtime. And what's notable for that game is that was during the period where the Hamilton Tiger Cats actually struggled to hold on some leads, double-digit point leads. So ultimately the teams split, with the road teams winning each game. And then we'll take a look at the playoff history before I break down like the facets of the game. I look on the CFL.ca and come to my conclusions. There's a few points that I disagree with, but this year, well, let's take a look at playoff history. And we'll take a look at the last 3 matchups that these two teams had in the playoffs. Well, the most recent before this year, you have to go back to 2014, as in the 2014 East Final on Sunday, November 23rd. It was the Montreal Alouettes going to Hamilton, and Hamilton won that game 40-24 back in 2014. So it's definitely been 7 years since these two teams have met each other in the playoffs, but Montreal did have 4 years that they missed the playoffs for the relevant again. So that was the 2014 East Final. And then they met in the 2013 East semifinal, This happened on Sunday, November the 10th in 2013. Well, this one, Hamilton was the home team, and Hamilton won this one 19-16 in overtime. So these two teams seem to like to play it close in overtime in the playoffs. And then the third one for the most recent, go back to 2011, 10 years ago. Also in the East semifinal, this happened on Sunday, November 13th, 2011, as Montreal was the home team and it was played at the Big O. Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats actually won this one 52-44 in overtime, so that was definitely a wild game. So Hamilton definitely has the edge in recent playoff history. And then the last playoff win for the Hamilton Tiger Cats was the 2019 East Final on Sunday, November the 17th, where the Hamilton Tiger Cats beat the then named Edmonton Eskimos. There was a crossover last season that we played, and Edmonton made it to the East Final. It was 36-16, so Hamilton last won the East Final to get to the 107th Grey Cup, which was here in Calgary a couple of years ago. The last win for the Montreal Alouettes would have been going back to 2014 in the East semifinal. This was on Sunday, November 16th, as the Montreal Alouettes, there was a crossover in the playoffs that year as they destroyed the BC Lions 50-17 in the 2014 East Final. So those are the last playoff wins for the two teams. So that's just a little bit of a history and records for both teams. So now let's get to the actual matchup itself. Looking at the facets of the game. So let's start off with the quarterbacks. As who has the edge in quarterback between the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats? I think that edge will go to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as it is expected that Jeremiah Mazzoli will be the starting quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Well, they do also have Dean Evans on the bench to back up, but I'm going to say it's a slight edge to Hamilton, as Montreal, they have Trevor Harris, as they acquired late in the season for insurance policy after when Vernon Adams Jr. went down. Trevor Harris has looked pretty good with the Montreal Alouettes since coming over from Edmonton. Definitely is an upgrade over Matthew Schultz, but I like Hamilton in this matchup for quarterback. Now, running back, I'm going to say for the two games this weekend, this is where the biggest mismatch is going to be, as I'm going to just put my hand down literally. That goes to the Montreal Alouettes. Two reasons. William Stanback, as the Montreal Alouettes have the leading rusher in their arsenal in William Stanback, and also the couple games they didn't play Cameron Artis-Payne also prove he is no slouch at running back. So Hamilton, well, they have their hands full when it comes to the running game, because who knows who's starting for Hamilton at running back. It's been a revolving door with injuries. They've had Don Jackson, however, he's been hurt in and out. They have Sean Thomas Erlingston. So, and I think this is going to be a mismatch that Montreal's got the edge in running back. So now let's go to the receivers. This is definitely a fun matchup, as I would say, but I would give the edge to Montreal as well in this one, because Montreal, they're an exciting team to watch when their offense is clicking, as they like to go with the big ball, and they definitely got a couple of receivers, especially with Eugene Lewis, I was meant to say, B.J. Cunningham, and Jake Winicki. That's definitely their big three, and they definitely have the ability to pick up big yardage. I know Hamilton, they do have Brandon Bakes, Jalen Lackland, Stephen Barr Jr., and apparently Brian Addison is coming off the injured list. But I'm going to say Montreal's got the edge when it comes to receivers, especially with Jake Winicki, B.J. Cunningham, and Eugene Lewis. So now let's move on to the offensive line, the big guys up front. I would also give this edge to the Montreal Alouettes. I know Hamilton's got a stellar group when it comes to Ravenberg, and then they got Chris Van Zyl. But I'm going to say the big part of Montreal's offensive line is the fact they were able to open up some holes for William Stanback, So far looking when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to say Montreal has the edge, especially when it comes to running the ball and when it comes to the receivers. So that's what I like in this matchup so far. But let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball, and let's go to the defensive line. And I am going to say that this will favor the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as they definitely got a good group. Ted Laurent being the headliner. They got Julian Hauser, William Benefit, Dice Wynn. Then they also got Jagger Davis as well. So although David Nard, the leading sackmaster, is on the Montreal Alouettes, but I think collectively as a group, the defensive line, I give that edge to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Linebackers, well, I think you definitely know who headlines the linebackers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats if you're a CFL fan, and two reasons. Simone Lawrence, he definitely, love him or hate him, he's definitely a great player. Sometimes he plays on the edge, but he definitely headlines the linebackers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he is their all-time tackle leader, as well as Cameron Kelly. And then Montreal do have Chris Hackey and Patrick Levels, but I think linebackers as a whole would still go the edge to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So now the last level of defense, when it comes to the defensive backs, I'm going to have to say this also will go to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I mean, they got Carriel Brooks, Desmond Lawrence, Delvin Breaux, and also still missed Tunde Adeleke here in Calgary. I know that Montreal has some solid players in terms of Money Hunter, Najee Murray, and Greg Reed, and Ty Cranston. However, I'm going to say this will definitely be the huge matchup, seeing how the defensive backs fare against the Montreal Alouettes. Big receivers. So the defensive side of the ball definitely favors the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which we'll see what gives. Would it be the big play offense with the Montreal Alouettes or the big play defense on Hamilton? So now when it comes to the return game, this is where I have a little bit of a disagreement with the CFL in my personal opinion. The CFL does say it's a push. No one has the edge in it. However, if Frankie Williams or Brandon Banks gets going in the return game, especially in the playoffs, I'm going to give the edge to Hamilton when it comes to the return game because they have that presence. So I'm going to give Hamilton the edge there. Now when it comes to the kicking game, well, we'll see how Taylor Bergolette does for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as they let go of Michael Dominguez, and they definitely had a few interesting decisions to make when it comes to kicking. However, when it comes to the Montreal Alouettes, they definitely settled in with Joseph Zamina and as well as David Cote, however, extra points. But given that it's actually not that great on both sides compared to some other teams in the CFL, I like Montreal's kicking game. So depends how you look at this matchup. It should be a fairly close matchup overall. It's definitely the classic offense versus defense that I would say. However, if this is a close game and comes down to field goal or field position, I'd like Montreal in this one when it comes to that pass of the game. So now this part of the video, this is where I'll put this team will win if, and I pick a few points. So Montreal will win if, let's say, if Trevor Harris continues his strong playoff play, as he definitely had some big playoff games with the Ottawa Red Blacks, as well with the Edmonton Eskimos a couple seasons ago. So I'm going to say if he has a big game and outduels Jeremiah Mazzoli or Dane Evans, Montreal could pull off the win in this one. Montreal will win if, as I mentioned, big play from the receivers. How big of a game does Lejeune Lewis, Jake Winneke, or BJ Cunningham have? And then Montreal win if William Stanback, I'm going to say if he runs for well over 100 yards and gets a few receiving yards. If William Stanback has a big game, I'm going to say Montreal will win. Hamilton will win. I think if Jeremiah Mazzoli is accurate, if he is over 70% of his passes and spreads the ball around, I'm going to say Hamilton should be able to win this one. Hamilton will win if Brandon Banks comes alive. Brandon Banks, he's still looking for that Grey Cup ring. Came so close in 2014 and was on the wrong end of it in 2019. Hamilton definitely could feast on Brandon Banks. If he comes alive, and he has had some big playoff games in the past, and then the last part for Hamilton is, can they snuff out William Stanback and the receivers on their defense? That I would say Hamilton will win. So those are my few points to have from both sides, that what I think needs to happen if they're going to be taking on the Toronto Argonauts in the East Final. So now with this game being outside in late November, weather could be a factor. And I looked at Environment Canada when I was putting this notes together. Weather looks like it could be a factor in this one, as they are forecasting periods of snow and a high of 2 degrees. So if it's around 1 p.m. kickoff in Hamilton when this game starts, snow could be a factor. So maybe this could favor, William Stanback a lot more, and could that affect the, big play for the Montreal Alouettes? And then they're forecasting flurries in the low of -3. So that is the weather forecast. So with this side of the recording, I am going to employ my Wish Smart Bulb when I'm just doing the review. I'll have it on daylight, but let's pick the color on who I think is going to win this game, and I give my confidence pick. Is it going to be the Montreal Alouettes, or is it going to be the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as I'll fine-tune it? Coy, so what team do you think I have picked to win? Well, I am going to give it to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm going to give to the Hamilton Tiger Cats with a 60% confidence. I think overall Hamilton is the better team in the CFL, and the fact that they're hosting the big game this year, they're on a mission to not only get back to the game with it in Hamilton this year, but win it. And I do feel that Hamilton, however, they've underachieved most of the season. I expected Hamilton to finish first in the East Division. Well, they finished second, but I thought Hamilton was still going to be pretty good from a couple of years ago, but Montreal can be stingy, so that's why I give a 60% confidence. But I think Hamilton will win and will be taking on the Toronto Argonauts in the East Final a week later. So what do you think of this matchup, and who do you think is going to win, and what's your confidence in your pick when it comes to the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats? So anyway, as I like to say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, along the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my channel, recapping games and stories, but this On the Road to the Grey Cup is something else I like to do, to take a look at the playoff games as we're ready for another run to the Grey Cup. I'm definitely extra hungry for another run to the Grey Cup this year, because we did not have it last year. Damn COVID, and damn COVID is still wrecking things right now, but I'm just glad that we had football. But I also do a variety of non-sports content, like personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I'll do share my experience sitting on the road or at a sport event. Sadly, no contest has called me or emailed me saying that I'm going to Hamilton for the Grey Cup this year, so don't think there'll be any Grey Cup videos this year unless I win my way in. But that's all I have on my channel, so if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, do follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey. You know what you do, just make sure you hit like and subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below, and then I have my second channel in Brett Hornby Shorts, where I put my YouTube shorts on that channel. And what I am going to do is I have recapped Calgary Flames and Calgary Stampeders games, but I will do a quick recap that same style on my YouTube Shorts channel, Brett Hornby Shorts, where I'll recap all 5 playoff games. So we'll see on there right away on who won between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Montreal Alouettes. And of course, stay tuned to next week where I'll break down the final games. Who do you think is going to take on the Toronto Argonauts in the East Final next week? And then you'll have to go see my West semi-final video that I'm about to make, where I'll break down the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So enjoy the CFL playoffs and the run to the 108th Grey Cup. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.